KrisAnne Hall, Ms. KrisAnne Hall, and our plaintiff in this case, Mr. Eric Gagnon. And the reason we're here today in front of the Hillsborough County Courthouse is to announce our lawsuit against Hillsborough County, a county commission that has acted illegally and unconstitutionally and put the public at harm with its new mask mandate order. Last week, the Hillsborough County, through delegated power to one of its branches, that would criminalize, it would allow for the arrest, prosecution, county resident, if they weren't complying with a void and difficult to understand mandate which requires everyone going into a business to wear a mask. This mask mandate is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional for a variety of reasons. For one, it violates the Equal Protection Clause of the Florida Constitution. It violates the Due Process Clause of the Florida Constitution for several reasons. One of those reasons is because it's legally void, like I mentioned. None of the definite and important terms in this order are defined. It's almost impossible to make sense of what you're supposed to do. And what makes this order most pernicious of all, and I've read every single executive order requiring masks in the state of Florida, every county, every city, and Hillsborough County is the worst one in the state, and I'll tell you exactly why. Instead of actually trying to enforce an order, which they shouldn't be doing to begin with because it's bad policy and it's illegal, they've decided they're going to criminalize and turn business owners into an arm of the law enforcement of Hillsborough County. They want to make business a constitutional mandate. You as a business owner of a brick and mortar business here in Hillsborough County will now have to act as a law enforcement officer to eject people from your property, despite whether they have a health condition or not, from your property. If you don't, you will be liable for criminal arrest and for civil fines. It does not define in any explicit terms how a disability, health disability, is defined in the order. It's extremely unclear. We're now putting business owners in charge of checking people to see what disabilities they have. How are they even supposed to do that? On top of that, if you're an individual like my client who has an asthmatic condition, has a health condition, and you can't comfortably wear a mask to begin with because it makes it very difficult to breathe, well then how does that make sense? So Hillsborough County, in the middle of an economic recession, has decided that they're going to criminalize and penalize average working people here in Hillsborough County, and we're here to tell them, stop. We're here to demand that Hillsborough County amend or remove their executive order that they passed last week and stop the criminalization and potential arrest of Hillsborough County residents. I'll be followed by our plaintiff, Mr. Eric Gagnon.
Hello everybody, my name is Eric Gagnon, and as you heard, I have a family-owned business in Plant City named A Land of Delight Natural Farm. I've actually been in business for 33 years now, and I've been a business owner for over 3 decades, and I've seen a lot happen, but nothing like what we've been through with COVID-19. As a caring, concerned citizen, business owner, I bought additional cleaning supplies, face coverings, signs. It's been a lot to handle. We did 6-foot distance, and we did everything that we were supposed to do as a business. I've regrouped, I've reformulated, I've reorganized. I went to curbside, I changed my business times, I changed my business hours, I changed my business days of operation, I changed our marketing plan, I changed everything through this time, as many other business owners have. And now I have another mountain to climb, another challenge to go after, and now here's another burden. This is just another burden for me as a business owner to bear. It's another headache, it's another hardship, and it's another expense, actually. We're already stretched. And I feel that as a business owner and as business owners, we're being discriminated upon. The county is now placing business owners in a position of authority that we're not equipped, trained, prepared, and totally unqualified to handle. The county is now asking business owners to police their customers. We're supposed to police the customers? Are you kidding me? Directing them to wear face coverings. This places unreasonable duress on small business owners. Who are we to ask somebody to wear a face mask? People can wear face masks. This is not about face masks. People can wear them, people cannot wear them, people can do whatever they want. But as a business owner, who am I to tell people what to do? I shouldn't. That's not my job. Now, what happens if a customer comes on my property and I tell them, hey, you can't come here unless you wear a face mask or a face covering? What if it incites that person to anger? What if they get violent? Is the county going to come and they're going to calm them down? What if the customer says you're discriminating on me? Is the county going to come and represent me then? What if the customer now decides to take their business elsewhere? Is the county going to compensate my business for the loss that we just went through? What if the customer tells me they're not going to shop at my business anymore? Is the county going to conduct a positive marketing campaign for my business to recoup my business? Absolutely not. How in the world, as a small business owner, am I supposed to hire, train new qualified personnel and request them to get trained on teaching someone how to wear a face covering or why they should or why they shouldn't? Where do I send them to get trained to learn what to say and what not to say to customers? And we're not trained to do this. We are already multitasking. So do I not restock inventory? Do I not wipe the counters down anymore at the entrances so that I can put one of my few people in the front to enforce the face covering order that they've put in place? Absolutely not. What verbiage am I supposed to use? What am I supposed to say? How do I do this? I'm not the police. How do I protect myself if someone cusses us out or yells at us? What if they do something worse than that? Is the county going to compensate me? Are they going to come to my rescue? What if the customer has a health issue? Am I required to wear a face covering? What if the face covering causes medical harm to them? Am I liable for that? Am I to blame or is the county to blame? Who will come to our defense? If the county wants to place the burden on business owners, then the county needs to refund a portion of my taxes so that I can hire professionals who are well-trained, highly skilled, and highly qualified to request customers to wear face coverings without cause or harm in any way, without causing a loss in business, without causing ill feeling toward the place of business, without causing perceptions of discrimination in any way. This is an unfair order. It causes unfair judgment against the business owners that have already been through a tremendous amount. Many small business owners will never recover from what's already happened. They will never even recover. Those who are still out there, we need to help. Those of us that are still out there, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We thought there was a light at the end of the tunnel. The county's opening back up. We're going to do this, and we're thinking, okay, we're finally getting back to normal. We just didn't know the light at the end of the tunnel was actually a train ready to come take us out again. We don't need that burden. This is unfair. It's unjust. There's no justice in imposing this costly expense on an already hurting business infrastructure. I'm here to speak up, to speak against this unreasonable duress, that this order be retracted forthwith, as it is devastating ill violation against Hillsborough County business owners. Thank you for your time, attention, swift action on this critical issue at hand. Thank you.
My name is KrisAnne Hall. I'm an attorney as well, and I'm co-counsel with Anthony Sabatini. Mr. Sabatini has spoken to you about the law. Mr. Gagnon has explained to you the plight of our business owners. I would like to talk to you about the proper role of government. This is not something that we're seeing here today. American government is founded upon the principles that all power in government is derived from the people. So that the people are the rulers over the government and not the government the rulers over the people. Our Florida Constitution embraces those principles in its first article, telling us that all power in government is derived from the people, telling us that all people have inalienable rights, and that in the protection and the security of those rights, we are to have equal application under the law. How do we have equal application under the law when the government who is making that is not the proper role of government. The proper role of government, as established, as enshrined in our Declaration of Independence, is to secure the rights of the people, not to regulate them out of business. If we're going to be a place worthy of the title of a land of liberty, where we are the home of the free, then we must have a government that reflects that. This emergency planning group is not even a representative body creating law. How are we to operate? How are we to operate as a republic, as our constitutions require, when a hand-picked body that excludes districts in representation? My district doesn't even have a representative body on the EPG. I call my county commissioner and say, I don't want this mask law. I want business to be protected. And my county commissioner says, I'm sorry, I don't have a voice in this. This is not equal application of the law. This is not a representative body. And to have a false body claiming representative authority to create laws that include criminal penalties on our business owners. I want you to grasp that. Our business owners are now between a rock and a hard place. Do they now suffer criminal penalties from the county of Hillsborough, or do they put themselves in a situation where they might be subject to federal fines and penalties because they have to play doctor and determine whether the Americans with Disability Act applies or not? At the last Hillsborough County EPG meeting, Sheriff Chad Chronister said the sheriff, the one who's supposed to be enforcing laws, said this would be impossible for us to enforce. If it's impossible for the sheriff to enforce with trained deputies, how do we expect our business owners to do this? This is the county shirking its responsibility, hiding its accountability, passing off unlawful, unconstitutional orders, weaponizing our business owners against their own customers. Why? Because we have an EPG that handpicks the doctors that they interview, the information that they choose, excluding second opinions. Who here would have a major medical condition with treatment and not seek a second opinion? Well, apparently everybody on the EPG would. That is not just simply not wise practice, that is unlawful government. It is not the government's responsibility nor the government's duty to tell the individual how to live their life, how to take care of their family, and to cherry pick and provide us with opinions. In the very most, it is the government's responsibility to provide us with a well-rounded set of information from all the sources possible so that we, the people, can make decisions about ourselves, our health, and our own families. So what we're doing here today, Mr. Sabatini, Mr. Gagnon and his family, is not about whether people should wear masks or not. It's about the proper role of government, a limited government. It is about whether we're going to be a people under the rule of law or a people under the rule of rulers. Thank you.
And if you have a few questions, we'll take a few moments for questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
You might want this could be amended.
Yes.
How so?
Well, if they just replace language requirement of face masks with recommendation, I don't see an issue with that. That's what Seminole County did when we sued Seminole County. They went from requirement to a recommendation. You know, if you want to wear a mask, you can. Private business, owners can, if they wish, demand that, and individuals. But that's what we're looking for. That or to erase the executive order entirely.
Representative?
Yes, sir.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I got you.
I just wanted to ask, is there any concern from the people that you represent in your district that there's a permanency to the masks in the state or in the counties?
You bring up an excellent question. If you couldn't hear the question, it's whether this is going to go to something completely and totally permanent. I'm afraid the answer to that is yes. I think that when government begins to infringe in new areas of modifying our behavior, they don't ever release on that. They don't ever go backwards. And that these mask mandates are just the beginning. What's next? Gloves, certain types of clothing. It's out of control. And like Ms. KrisAnne Hall said, this is really about the role of government.
I want to mention to you, in answer to your question, Commissioner Overman made that statement in the meeting where they voted for the order. She said because several of the commissioners wanted it to expire and then have to be voted into continuation. And she said, and you can go back because it's all recorded, she said, if we find it's working, why would we want to remove the order? Giving us an indication that the county, the EPG in the very least, or certain members, have an intention to keep this going in perpetuity.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there a vehicle by which such an order would be blocked?
If you mind, just a moment. Yeah. I think that might be Joe Biden driving that truck. I don't want to get there. Yes, sir.
If there is a vehicle by which you believe such an order could theoretically be lawfully passed, like whether in the state legislature or something.
The answer to that question, it's always in the details. It's how they write these things. I mean, I would probably answer theoretically in some very narrowly tailored way for very specific circumstances for a very limited amount of time. It might be yes, but I'll put it this way: what we have right now is so unfathomably far from that for where it should be as an order that it's not even worth entertaining. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm in the medical field as well, and I know for a fact that this mask, there is no supporting documentation saying that it's safe for you or it will keep you safe from any COVID. I mean, our bodies are meant to, our immune systems fight this whole day. In fact, it does more harm than good. Are we holding them accountable for giving us that supporting documentation of where they're getting this information? Because I would really like to know.
She brings up a great point. If they jam forth this unvetted science, this just hypothetical opinion making, if they just jam it down without any consensus, they're probably going to face a slew of lawsuits for damages. This lawsuit is for an injunction to stop it, but in the future, they could be potentially sued. And guess who's going to be liable for that? The taxpayers of Hillsborough County. So you bring up another good point. We could take one more question from the media.
Mr. Miller mentioned something about going after all business operators instead of business owners. Does that change something in the ordinance?
It potentially could make it worse. The best thing they could do right now is retract or amend this order and stop picking on businesses. Thank you guys so much for coming out.